Richard Coleman alongside me. My name's Tom Gaymore. This is the reverse grid, Richard.
Yeah, absolutely. So this gives some of the drivers that aren't perhaps quite as quick to challenge for pole position a chance at a great race result, but also offers us a great opportunity to see the fast drivers come through and hopefully some classic overtaking.
So apparently Urlacher is on pole in any category for the first time in 2 years. So this will be an interesting experience for him. I'm sure he'll be a little bit nervous.
And I think further to that, it's the first time he's actually ever started from pole position on a standing start. So no pressure.
No pressure at all. Alongside him, he's got a very experienced and fast Brit, Tom Chilton, aboard the Sébastien Loeb Racing Citroën. That is your front row, and then behind him it's Mehdi Bennani and Nesta Girolami. All 16 cars form up on the grid. You'll see the green flag wave, and then it'll be all eyes on the start gantry. Well, it seems to be an incredibly long hold. I think everyone's in position. Everyone but the marshal at the back. There goes the green flag. Well, that seemed to take an eternity to wave. I've seen longer processes than that, but the red lights are on now. The engine revs rise, and it's a reasonably short hold, and it's a good start from Tom Chilton. Urlacher coming across to cover, and it looks as though he might have the run down to turn one. Tom Chilton still having a look, getting squeezed on the inside. Look at the Volvo of Ted Bjork coming around the outside of Mehdi Bennani, but Bennani it is in the second of the Citroën that slots in to third place, leaving the two blue Volvos to fight it out behind the one of the Hondas. Who was that? Montero.
That's Montero. Montero into Michelitz in turn two there. That's not what they want at all. Those guys need to get their heads down and start overtaking some of these slower cars. And has Michelitz got a puncture?
Yeah,
I think Michelitz might have a puncture.
And that is courtesy of that contact there. So Thiago Monteiro torpedoing his teammate. Rule number one in motorsport: don't hit your teammate. That's happened. Tom Chilton looking aggressive, trying to go around the outside of Urlacher, get the switch back. He uses the car to give him a little friendly tap wide, and that means Tom Chilton now into the lead ahead of Urlacher, and it looks as though Mehdi Bennani's having a run as well. This could spell trouble for the Frenchman, and Bennani looks to be up the inside.
The stewards may want to have a look at that Tom Chilton overtake. He wouldn't have made that unless he'd made contact. But he's in a difficult position there because he couldn't have given the position back. And look, they're side by side. Yeah,
Urlacher refusing to give up. And this is what we wanted to see from the Frenchman. He now fights back and gets ahead of Bennani, who gets rather squirrely and is ahead of the Volvo. It looks as though that is Ted Bjork that's ahead of Nesta Girolami.
And if the race finished in this order, Ted Bjork would be leading the World Championship.
Plenty of rear wheels looking up. Look at the Volvos there. Ted Bjork getting pushed through by Girolami, because Girolami's racing Guerri and was trying to get the run. As it is, Guerri it is who slots in now to fifth place.
Left front puncture you have, left front from the screen.
And yeah, Nesta Girolami, it is ahead of Nicky Katzberg. Tom Chilton, though, way out in front now. That battle between Urlacher and Mehdi Bennani has helped him, and Thiago Monteiro now starting to find his rhythm. The recovering Thiago Monteiro fighting with Nicky Katzberg. Girolami's lost out there. How did he lose out in turn one? We didn't see that because he was right up behind Ted Bjork.
Yeah, Michelit's still not even back to the pit lane yet. That's effectively his race over. It's very unlikely he'll score points in this first opening race.
So with Girolami now heading backwards, it looks as though the Argentinian hopes all focus on Esteban Guerri. Esteban Guerri, who started on the third row alongside Ted Bjork, now holed up behind the Swede.
I think it was a pure mistake from Thiago that got him into his teammate, but crucially in the tactical battle now, Volvo have 3 cars in play, whereas Montero's got it all to do. So Volvo could start to play a bit more of a tactical game in this race. So it's actually hurting Thiago as well.
Norby Michelis will be really disappointed with that. But like you said, Thiago Monteiro, incredibly fair, very experienced and very honest, and not the type of guy that goes bumping and boring, especially into the side of his teammate. That would have just been cold tyres, cold brakes, down into the second turn. And in that racing environment, you just get sucked into the battle, and it looks as though he was helped into the side of Norby Michelis on his account anyway.
Yeah, I think he just snatched a break going into turn 2, like you said, Tom. Cold brakes, cold tyres, very easy to do, even for an experienced head like the World Championship leader, Thiago Monteiro.
Tom Chilton it is who continues to lead aboard the Citroën Alese, the Sebastian Loeb run machine. Then it's Jan Erklacher aboard his Lada Vesta, the RC Motorsport car. And then it's the second of the Sebastian Loeb run cars, Mehdi Bennani, right up behind Erklacher, ahead of Esteban Guerri, who in turn is in the Chevrolet Cruze, the Ray Mallock built car run by Campos Racing.
It's early doors, but these 3 opening laps have been crucial for Tom Chilton. He's built up a nice lead, but crucially, he's now got enough of a gap where the cars behind aren't in his slipstream. So it'll be very difficult for them to maintain his pace on the straight. So now he's got a great chance of winning this race.
And Mehdi Bennani and the likes of Esteban Guerri still need to get past the inexperienced Jan Erklacher, and Erklacher will want to hold on to this rostrum.
Don't worry about Guerri. He has new tires. He will soon have used the best of them. He might also have started with higher pressures, as he has been really quick in the beginning. So find your pace and be patient. The race will come back to you.
Crucial piece of information there from the Volvo team to Ted Bjork. And basically they're saying that Esteban set up his car for this race and for it to come on early. So we'll see how that pans out.
Jan Erklacher leading Mehdi Bennani, but falling back from Tom Chilton. And I was saying he'll really want to hold on to this with all his might, and that could play into the hands of Tom Chilton more so, as well as Mehdi Bennani and Esteban Guerri start to try and challenge if they can. They might not have the pace to challenge Jan Erklacher. He seems to be holding his own.
There's a huge amount of experience behind him in this train of race-winning drivers, not only in this championship, but in many other international series. But this is the first time that Erlach has been to this circuit, so it's very impressive the job that he's doing. But I'll be honest, Tom, I don't expect him to stay there.
And Rubbing is racing in touring cars, so if they do get onto the back of him, as we saw with Tom Chilton, they might not need a second opportunity. Tom just using his car a little bit to get past the young Frenchman.
Ted Bjork also here has a great situation where his teammates are behind him, almost his rear gunners. The Volvo team are entitled to race, but they also know that Ted Bjork's will lead the World Championship if the race finishes like this. And therefore they're going to give him some breathing space until he picks his moment to start attacking Guerri later in the race when his tyres start to go away from him.
And that's why that information was crucial, because they were giving Ted Bjork the information not to throw it all away, not to panic early on. You know, you're in a great position, just helping him realise the bigger picture.
Absolutely, and there's some good tasty battles going on further down here at the running order for the top 10. Remember, the top 10 are the points paying positions.
Yeah, they are indeed. This is the Zengo Motorsport run car of Zsolt Szabo. Ahead of him is Daniel Nagy. They are 14th and 15th. Norby Michelis out the race in 16th. But Zsolt Szabo coming here from European Touring Cars, his first foray into the World Championship. And now Guerri just runs a little bit wide, and that's allowed Ted Bjork to get the run. Can't get through on the outside, but he'll have a good bit of momentum, and he's got to be careful there. And that's why he's got to be careful, because trying to challenge around the outside there, it was only going to end one way. Guerri was only ever going to send him a little bit wider than he already was.
I'm really surprised at that. He risked a huge amount there at this stage of the race, and now World Championship leader Thiago Monteiro has passed him as a result.
So small margins there, but for me, on board, I could see there that Guerri was only ever going to run him wide. It's not the place. There's one line through here. It's a very quick right-hander, an incredibly quick right-hander where there is one line. And Thiago Monteiro now has 2 Volvos behind, and the experienced Rob Huff aboard the all-Inkle car is there as well. 6 laps still to go here in Argentina.
The FIA WTCC is brought to you by JVC Kenwood. Kenwood. The FIA WTCC is brought to you by JVC Kenwood.
Welcome back to the Circuito Termas de Rio Honda, and the lead battle starting to build here. Jan Urlacher pulling away. We thought he would fall into the clutches of Mehdi Bennani and Esteban Guerri. Not the case. He's obviously run tyres, but going very, very quickly as well.
Doing a great job. He's never been to this circuit before. He's in his rookie season, so he's doing a fantastic job. But as we said, he's probably put his new tyres on for this race because this race and his grid position gave him the best chance of success. But nonetheless, he's found a great rhythm and he's found a great lap time. He's lapping only 2/10 slower than the race leader, Tom Chilton.
On board with Esteban. Yeah, you spotted that there straight away, and that's Nicky Catsburg. Catsburg third in the championship, and that spells disaster for the Dutchman. And the Polestar Scion Volvo crew look on, and you can just see what is at stake there. The expression says it all. DNFs are punished in this championship, and Catsburg there, he must have run a curve or had some contact of some sort.
The Volvo team will certainly be hoping so, because the settings are likely to be very similar on Girolami and Ted Bjork's car. So if that is a tyre failure, they'll be pretty worried. So he may have had some contact, or like you said, run wide or hit a curb a little bit hard. But nonetheless, that's a disaster for him.
Well, that moves everyone up. Thiago Monteiro down. So Monteiro now up to 5th. Ted Bjork still behind, having lost out earlier on in the race. The chap second in the championship, the Swede, was battling with the Argentinian Esteban Guerri, put his nose where it wasn't wanted and was run off wide coming onto the long back straight, and that allowed Monteiro to pass. And you're looking at Nicky Catsburg getting his car back to the pits. And I suppose the only positive out of that is he has got back to the pit lane and there's no damage.
Girolami, has he got a puncture as well, or is this a different fault?
Girolami's car's not running. He's trying to restart it there.
So Volvo have gone from being in the pound seats for this event to really struggling in a matter of laps. First a mistake from their lead driver Ted Bjork, then a tyre failure for Katzberg, and now another technical issue for Girolami.
And as I was saying, the benefit for Nicky Katzberg is there's no damage on that car and he's got it back to the pit lane. Nestor Girolami, there's a short gap between this race and the next race. He's not even got back to the pit lane, so they can't work on that car. And that, if it is a bigger issue, a fuel pump issue or something like that, that's disaster that he's not got back.
Very valuable time lost in fixing the car, just as you say. So let's hope he can get it back into the pit lane.
So, third sector yellow flags are out because he was painstakingly close. It's almost like running out of petrol when you can see the service station on the motorway. Poor old Nestor Girolami, that car is cut out. It's not restarting. And so you would hazard a guess that that's an electrical issue or some kind of fuel issue there with the starter motor ticking over.
Absolutely, the car seems to have some electrics, but as you said, no drive. Just looking at the onboard shots there, Guerrieri's car is really planted through the fast section. He's pulling away from Thiago in that section of the circuit.
Still, it's Tom Chilton who leads, his gap around 3 seconds. Then it is the very impressive Jan Erklacher, the young French driver who's doing a really good job in this opening race. He'd never started from pole position and never had a standing start from pole position. And you volunteered that information. Really staggering stuff. He's holding Mehdi Bennani behind and also Esteban Guerrieri and Thiago Montero, and he's good for pace.
Yeah, he absolutely is. That first tight and twisty section and the first part of the lap is where he's struggling. But again, on the even with the slipstream here, Thiago Montero is not really catching up on Guerrieri. Just trying to put him under a little bit of pressure under the brakes, just trying to give a little bit of distraction in his mirrors, try and force Esteban into an error. But at the moment, he's proving a very difficult car to get around.
And this is where Thiago Montero has the experience. Championship leader going into round 11 here, and he will not look to repeat the same mistake that 5-second penalty for car 3. So he'll not look to repeat the same mistake. So
that must be for the opening lap. Yeah, I thought the stewards would want to have a look at that, and they clearly have. So a time penalty has been awarded. Now this is crucial because at the moment Tom Chilton only has a 3-second lead.
This will drop him back to around 6th place.
So he needs, and maybe he's been trying to control the pace of this race. But yeah, it's unlikely he's going to be able to gap another 2 seconds.
We didn't get to see that from outside the car. We saw it inside the car, didn't we? And you, quite rightfully, and really that's why you paid the money, you are, Richard, said it spot on. We didn't see that they're investigating it, but that's heartbreak for Tom Chilton. He'll be really disappointed. But Jan Erklacher now in the driving seat in 2nd place and not under real pressure. You'll see the young Frenchman, there he is. And Mehdi Bennani in 3rd will now inherit 2nd. Tom Chilton just needs to push. He's got that message. Listen now.
We have a 5-second penalty. You currently are 2.8 in the lead, so you need to push.
That was post the event. And we've not heard Tom's response there, probably for obvious reasons.
He's gone from having a win in his pocket to looking... I think that's probably a delayed message from the yellow flag that we had in Sector 3, which isn't there now. So there's no reason why Tom can't put his foot down. But at the moment, Erklacher is actually putting his foot down too. He's probably received the message from his engineer, but at the moment, he's actually quicker just slightly in the sector time. So it's going to be very difficult for Tom Chilton to hold on to this win, if not impossible.
So Tom Chilton leads on the road, but drama here in Argentina. We've seen Nicky Katzberg with a puncture. We've seen Ted Bjork run wide and lose spots. We've seen Nestor Girolami crawl to a halt. And now, as well as Norby Michelis in contact with his teammate at the beginning, the race leader, Tom Chilton, has a 5-second penalty. And with a lap and a half to go, it's going to be really interesting to see where he ends up. Surely he can't win it from here.
No, it's unlikely. That section there is where Guerrieri pulls out some lap time, and that's really what's kept his race alive and kept Montero at bay. Montero will now catch up through this first part of the lap, but in the second half of the lap, Guerrieri is so much quicker, so it's been proving very difficult for Montero to get up behind him.
Final lap here in Argentina, and Tom Chilton doing his best to try and get ahead or as far ahead as from this man, as he possibly can. Jörn Aklacher, the Frenchman, ahead of Mehdi Bennani and Esteban Guerri. Could this be an Argentine on the podium as well? This is going to be really interesting. All eyes on the timing screen, but you can visibly see that's not 5 seconds, and he's going to drop.
Montero's pulled out, but I think he's too far back.
He's going to drop down towards the end of that train.
So this looks like it's going to be a maiden win for Erlacher here. You know, he's just got to keep it together for the final part of this lap, and it will be a debut win for the young Frenchman.
So Jörn Erlacher has only scored, well, his best finish is 8th so far in the championship. And this is a real turnaround of events for him at a circuit that he hadn't seen before.
And although he finished second on the road, here's Montero on the radio.
Yeah, go push out because Chilton has got the 5-second penalty. Right now we have 1:10 margin. Okay, push, push, push.
So Thiago Montero getting the hurry up, because that's where Chilton's going to filter back into, just behind Guerri or behind Thiago Montero. Here comes Tom Chilton across the line. He'll win on the road, but he's going to drop back, and the real winner will be the Frenchman Jörn Erlacher, and a win for Lauda as well, ahead of Mehdi Bennani in the Sébastien Loeb Citroën Alesi. And then, yes, it's finished, Jan.
Checkered flag, checkered flag. Chilton has a time penalty, so you have won the race. Yeah, Chilton has a 5-second penalty, so you have
Dave
won
Scott,
the race.
his race engineer.
Thank you, guys. Спасибо. Спасибо, guys. Thank you.
Despite saying thank you in Russian there to his mechanics.
Very good job. Be careful on the way in, okay? Do not miss the weighbridge, yeah? Do not miss the weighbridge and the instrument.
Well, this is going to be the interesting bit. Dave Scott there talking about the formalities that come when you win a race. Jörn Erlacher has never been in this position before. Thiago Montero, where did he finish?
He missed it by a
5.1, yeah, 5.1 seconds behind Tom. So Tom will filter into 5th. Thiago Montero, Ted Bork dropped down to 6th and 7th. So Guerri up onto the podium. The Argentine on the podium with Jörn Erlacher, Mehdi Bennani. So that's good for the Argentine fans, and a bit of tyre debris down there. We didn't see what happened to Nesta Girolami. He's probably been towed back into the pit lane, which is a blessing for him, and hopefully he'll get that car up and running, or his Polestar Sign crew will.
Let's not take too much away from Erlacher finishing second on the road, because, you know, he's a very young kid. He's, like you said, he's only finished 8th before in a World Touring Car race. So it's been a very, very impressive drive for him, despite finishing second on the road. You know, I don't think anybody expected him to finish so high up, really. So all credit to him for putting together such a great race. And, of course, heartbreak for Tom Chilton, who, in reality, led the whole race from turn 5 onwards on lap 1. And, yeah, he's going to be further down the field. I think he's probably going to finish a race around 5th.
He'll be really, really gutted with that, but the rules are rules, and doesn't matter how harsh you think they are, you've got to abide by what the officials say. We didn't actually see it out of the car, which was frustrating, but nevertheless, he had good pace. We did this man a disservice, or I did. I said, will he hang on? He didn't hang on. He drove away to a certain extent from Mehdi Bennani. Almost a second clear.
He looked pretty emotional on the in-lap, so be interesting to see how he reacts when he sees his team that have worked very, very hard to get him into this position to be a race winner in the FIA World Touring Car Championship.
Jörn Erlacher out of the car to celebrate with his crew. And this will be a moment he'll remember, a win on an international stage, and a win for Lauda as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys, they haven't got the works factory support that they've had in previous years. So I think it's been a pretty difficult winter to put this program together, and this will mean a lot to everybody in that team.
el argentino Esteban Guerrieri. Buena tarea de la máquina conducido por el argentino Westra.
Well, if you've never watched World Touring Cars before, don't go anywhere, because there's a short pause now between this first race and the main race. The main race slightly longer than this 11-lap race, just by a couple of laps. 13 laps, the main race. That'll see Nicky Katzberg start from pole position ahead of Ted Bjork. But all eyes now on Jan Erklacher and his moment in the spotlight as he wins the first race here in Argentina. There